Some giants don't belong in fairy tales, they were caught on camera, and they're very real. Yes, you hear that right. From deep oceans to dense forests, massive creatures have been caught on tape that'll make you question what's really out there. In today's video, we're showing you real footage of the biggest creatures ever seen, and trust me, some of these are absolutely terrifying. So buckle up, because what you're about to see is not fiction, it's real, raw, and jaw-dropping. The Crocodile King. You won't believe what's hiding in this enclosure, a living dinosaur named Cassius. This monster crocodile is the largest ever kept in captivity. He's over 5.5 meters long and weighs around 2,900 pounds. That's longer than a car and nearly as heavy as one too. You'd think this beast came straight out of a prehistoric nightmare. I don't know about you, but I'd never want to be on the wrong side of that jaw. The dog they call Godzilla. Now, this isn't your regular fluffy pet, meet Zafir, better known as Godzilla. He's a Caucasian shepherd, but nearly 10 times bigger than your average dog. He's got the heart of a loyal companion, but the size of a full-grown bear. Standing next to him feels like you're beside a small horse. Friendly? Sure. But you wouldn't want to see him angry. The moose that blocked the highway. Drivers in Alaska were left speechless when they saw what looked like a dinosaur walking down the road. It was a moose, but not just any moose. This giant towered over SUVs like they were toys. He was at least 1.5 feet taller than the car beside him and just as long. It's like nature decided to go XXL for this one. The fish that fought back. What started as a calm fishing trip turned into a battle of strength and patience. After more than an hour of struggle, an angler finally pulled his catch to shore, and it was a monster. This catfish weighed 280 pounds and stretched 2.7 meters long. That's bigger than a Mini Cooper. And just imagine the story he now has for life. The anaconda encounter. You're wading through a quiet jungle river when suddenly you spot it. Not a log, not a shadow, a massive green anaconda wrapped tightly around a tree. These snakes can grow over 6 meters and sometimes hit 9 meters. That's nearly the size of a school bus. And the way they move, slow but deadly, makes them even scarier in real life. The giant named Odin. Now, picture a beast that looks like a lion but roars with the power of both lion and tiger. Meet Odin the liger. He's a mix of a lion and a tigress, and he stands over 3 meters tall on his hind legs, weighing around 900 pounds. Just imagine 2 adult grizzly bears stacked together. That's Odin, and with an appetite to match, he eats like a 2-year-old child every single day. The cow that cheated death. There's a cow in Australia that's so big, they didn't even bother sending him to the slaughterhouse, because he simply wouldn't fit. His name is Knickers, and he's a towering giant at 2 meters tall and nearly 2,200 pounds. He stands above all the other cows like a boss in a crowd. One look at him and you know, this isn't just any farm animal. This is a walking legend. Giant seals on the boat. You won't believe what just climbed onto this fishing boat. 2 elephant seals. So huge they looked like moving mountains, just flopped on the deck like it was a beach. Their weight was so massive, the entire boat seemed like it was sinking under their bodies. Elephant seals are actually the biggest seals on Earth, and when you see them this close, it's no surprise why. The world's tallest horse. Now, this is not your regular farm horse. Meet Big Jake, the giant red Belgian horse who literally towered over everything around him. At 2.1 meters tall and a whopping 2,500 pounds, he was like a walking wall of muscle. His stall was so huge it looked like a garage, not a stable. At 20 years old, Big Jake proudly held the world record for the tallest horse ever known. The giant turtle bigger than a car? You've seen turtles before, but nothing like this beast. The leatherback sea turtle is so massive, it's almost the size of a small car. Some of them grow up to 2.4 meters long and weigh nearly 2,000 pounds. Just picture that. A turtle as long as a golf cart and almost as heavy as one too. One expert even said the one in this photo was only slightly smaller than a hatchback car. The fearless lion of the streets. This lion walks like he owns the world, and to be honest, he just might. The Barbary lion, known for its size and power, was once the largest lion species on Earth. This one, it stretched an incredible 3.35 meters from nose to tail. That's as long as a small car. And what's even crazier, he walked calmly through human streets like he didn't even notice the cars or the people around him. The bear bigger than a room. Get ready to meet Brody, the Kodiak bear so large he could look over your living room ceiling. Standing tall at 2.75 meters and weighing 2130 pounds, he was the biggest bear ever recorded in captivity. Just for comparison, most home ceilings are 2.4 meters. Now imagine this bear standing beside you. Another Kodiak named Jimbo was slightly smaller, and even he made grown men look like kids while hugging him. The flying giant of the ocean. This isn't a bird or a plane, it's a manta ray, and it's as wide as a bus. With an average wingspan of 7 meters, these ocean gliders are the biggest rays in the world. One diver swimming next to it looked like a toy figure beside a jet. The heaviest manta ray ever caught, a jaw-dropping 5,000 pounds. Yes, that's the weight of a full-grown rhino, and moving it actually required a crane. Monster-sized snail. You won't believe this, but there's a beast out there that's more than 6 times bigger than your average garden snail. And no, this isn't from a sci-fi movie. This giant can stretch out as long as a human arm, from hand to elbow, about 40 centimeters. That's almost the size of a regular house cat. It's real, it's alive, and it looks like it crawled out of your nightmares. The dog that looks like a bear. Now picture this, a dog so massive it almost broke out of its cage, and when you see it, you'd think it's a lion in disguise. This is a Tibetan mastiff, and it weighs over 300 pounds. That's just under the average weight of an NFL lineman. These giants were bred to guard entire villages and even monasteries. Trust me, you wouldn't want to be on the wrong side of this fluffy beast. Heavier than a pickup truck. Just when you thought the ocean couldn't surprise you anymore, divers off the coast of Malta came face to face with an ocean sunfish so massive, scientists believe it could be the heaviest ever found. We're talking 5,500 pounds, heavier than a pickup truck. It may not look scary at first glance, but in the world of underwater giants, this one's a heavyweight champion. This rat could eat your pet hamster. This isn't your regular street rat sneaking through alleys. This thing is the size of a cat, and it's real. Experts think it might be a Gambian pouched rat, which can grow up to 90 centimeters and weigh around 4 pounds. That's 4 times bigger than the usual rats we see in cities. And believe it or not, some people even keep these monster rats as pets. The giant goat that beat them all. Goats are usually small and cute, right? Well, not this one. This absolute unit stands 1.5 meters tall at the shoulder and weighs a jaw-dropping 692 pounds. Even bigger than the man who takes care of it. But the true record holder was a goat named M. Maroc. He didn't live long, only 4 years, but during that short life, he reached a whopping 700 pounds. That's the heaviest goat ever recorded. The chicken that looks unreal? You won't believe your eyes when you see this giant chicken. His name is Miracle, and he's not your regular farm bird. This beast lives on a farm in Russia and stands almost 1 meter tall, weighing a shocking 17 pounds. Monster bat from the skies. This flying creature looks like it flew straight out of a horror movie. Found only in the Philippines, this fruit-eating bat is one of the biggest bats on Earth, with a wingspan stretching up to 1.7 meters and weighing 2.6 pounds. Its wings are as wide as Tom Cruise is tall. No joke. When it spreads those wings, it blocks out the sunlight. Baby kraken spotted. It came out of the deep and shocked everyone on the shore. A giant squid, about 3.65 meters long, swam up from the deep sea, something that rarely ever happens. Experts say it's still young, which is terrifying because if this is the baby, imagine how big the adult would be. No wonder sailors used to believe in sea monsters like the kraken. Giant swan versus dog showdown. This isn't just a swan, this is a feathered warrior. With a creepy hissing sound and wings wide open, this swan faced off with a dog in a tense standoff. The swan, measuring about 1.5 meters from beak to tail, showed zero fear. Despite the dog barking and stepping forward, the swan didn't back down. Size and attitude both on full display. Dire wolf in real life. At first glance, people thought it was a bear. But no, this massive beast walking along a Yellowstone road was a timberwolf. Normally, timberwolves grow up to 2 meters long and weigh around 175 pounds, but this one looked even bigger. Like a dire wolf from Game of Thrones had just entered the real world. It's the kind of animal that gives you chills just watching it move. The dog that fights wolves. Here comes the Alibi, a dog so huge people call them wolf crushers. These beasts have been bred for centuries for power and endurance. While most Alibis grow over 1 meter tall at the shoulder and weigh around 175 pounds, this particular dog looked like a walking tank. It's the kind of animal you wouldn't want to mess with. Now here's the question, if this dog faced a wolf, who'd win? The giant that lives forever. These tortoises aren't just massive, they're ancient. The Aldabra tortoise is one of the largest land tortoises in the world, and some of them live for over 250 years. That's right, one tortoise reached the age of 255. Adult males can grow up to 1.3 meters long and weigh around 770 pounds. But here's the fun part. They move fastest when it's lunchtime. You've never seen giants move like this. Monster boar in the bin. You won't believe your eyes when you see this beast standing tall like a man. A gigantic wild boar was caught rummaging through a trash bin, standing on its hind legs like it owns the place. This creature looked more like a bear than a pig, hunting for food in the middle of the night. River monster sturgeon? This fishing guide thought it was just another day on the river, until something massive tugged the line. Out of the water came a sturgeon so big, it looked like a living submarine. It was 3.2 meters long, about the size of a fishing kayak, and weighed somewhere around 500 to 600 pounds. A true river monster. Wings like a hand fan. What looks like a flying carpet and belongs in a fantasy movie? The Atlas moth. This gentle giant has wings so wide they stretch over 27 centimeters, wider than most human hand spans. It doesn't bite or sting, just flutters around like a peaceful giant of the insect world. Fat pig champion. You're not ready for this heavyweight. Meet Tickle Me Elmo III, a pig so huge he crushed the competition at the Indiana State Fair. He weighed in at a jaw-dropping 1,300 pounds. But wait, another pig took things to the next level, tipping the scales at 2,600 pounds. It took nearly 20 people to lift him onto a truck. This was no pig. It was a living bulldozer. River wolf on patrol. Down by the riverbank, a bold creature steps out like it's king of the jungle. This is the giant river otter, known for being fearless and super social. It stretched nearly 1.8 meters long and casually sunbathed while caimans watched nearby. That's why they call it the river wolf, a predator that rules the waters. The bird with a shoe on its face. Ever seen a bird with a shoe-shaped beak? Meet the shoebill, one of the weirdest and most amazing birds out there. It's got a huge gray moo body and a massive beak that looks like it came from a cartoon. Its wings stretch out to 2.35 meters wide. That's as wide as Shaquille O'Neal is tall. Guy King condor. This bird doesn't fly, it glides like a silent shadow across the mountains. The Andean condor is a flying legend with wings over 3 meters wide. That's twice the height of an average adult human. In one heartwarming moment, this massive bird walks up to a man, gives him a loving nuzzle, and wraps him in a gentle hug. These birds can soar over 160 kilometers without even flapping their wings. Nature's true king of the skies. The giant bunny that eats like a beast. You won't believe this, but there was once a rabbit so big people thought it was a baby goat at first. His name was Darius, and he belonged to a former glamour model named Annette Edwards. This wasn't your usual fluffy bunny. Darius was a Flemish giant, stretching 1.3 meters long and weighing 50 pounds. And guess what? He had an appetite to match. Every year, he munched through 2,000 carrots, 700 apples, and a full hay bale every week. Annette even spent over $6,000 a year just to feed this big guy. Now, that's what you call a hungry legend. The nightmare pet with 42 legs? Now, this next one isn't cute, it's terrifying. Imagine walking into someone's home and finding a giant centipede crawling across the floor. Not just any centipede, this monster was 42 centimeters long, way bigger than the normal kind, which are usually around 30 centimeters. These creatures might look like something from a horror film, but they're real, and worse, their bite is no joke. They can knock out prey 15 times bigger than themselves. You'd have to be real brave or real crazy to keep this thing as a pet. This steer with horns wider than a car. You've probably seen cows before, but nothing like this one. In Alabama, there's a steer named Poncho who became a world record holder, not for his weight or size, but for his horns. They measured a jaw-dropping 3.23 meters from tip to tip. To give you some idea, that's wider than the Statue of Liberty's head. While most cows have horns that curve upward, Poncho's went straight out like giant wings. And then there's the African Watusi steer. His horns weren't as long, but in terms of thickness, they broke the record, with a 95 centimeter circumference. These horns weren't just for show, they were world-class weapons. The lobster-like creature that can snap fingers off. What if I told you there's a creature in Tasmania that looks like an alien and can actually snap your finger clean off? Meet the giant freshwater crayfish. It's the biggest of its kind anywhere in the world, and it only lives in the rivers of northern Tasmania. With those powerful claws, one wrong move and you could be heading to the hospital. This isn't just some river snack. This thing is a tank with pincers. The cat that looks like a dog. Meet Samson, the most oversized cat in all of New York City. You'd probably think he's a small lion or maybe a fluffy dog at first glance. He eats like royalty, 6 tins of cat food a day, and his monthly grooming bill is around $120. But Samson isn't alone in the heavyweight cat club. Another feline, named Kafir, is so huge that people often mistake him for a dog, too. And the wild part, Kafir hasn't even stopped growing yet. The Texas kangaroo bigger than a man. If you thought kangaroos only belonged in Australia, think again. In Texas, there was one called Jack, and he was an absolute unit. Jack stood at a towering 6 feet 7 inches tall. That's the same height as wrestling legend Hulk Hogan. He also weighed around 200 pounds, which is close to the size of an average adult man. A kangaroo that size could knock you down with just one hop. The elephant that makes a van look tiny. Let's end with the biggest land animal on Earth, the African elephant. When one of these giants stands next to a van, the van suddenly looks like a toy. Their tusks alone are longer than a small car. But the largest elephant ever recorded? That beast was so massive, he weighed more than 6 cars combined. Just picture standing next to something that can toss you with one swing of its trunk. That's not just power, that's a living tank. So which creature blew your mind the most? Let us know in the comments. If you enjoyed these unbelievable sightings, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe for more real, mysterious, and shocking videos. Thanks for watching, and remember, the world is way bigger than we think, and so are its creatures.